All right, let's dive into these Grammys. You guys sent in a ton of articles, so we're going to break down the most interesting stuff, the stuff you won't hear anywhere else.
Yeah, this is your all-access pass behind the scenes.
Exactly. So the 67th Grammys, February 2nd at, Crypto.com Arena in L.A.,
The usual spot.
of course. With, he's hosted like 5 times now, Trevor Noah.
5-timer Trevor Noah. This year's Grammys were kind of unique because they took place just after those LA wildfires. Kind of added this like extra weight to everything.
It did. Like, can you imagine winning Album of the Year? And then a group of firefighters presents you the award.
So powerful, right? Beyonce, 11 nominations. She finally wins Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter. And to have those firefighters, the people who fought those fires right there, it showed you, how strong LA is.
For sure. Everyone's dressed up, glammed out, and then you have this moment of like, whoa.
Definitely.
And Beyonce, she also won Best Country Album for Cowboy Carter, by the way.
Yeah, pop icon dominating country. It really shows how everything's blending together these days. What even is a genre anymore?
Right. It's all blurring. And while Beyonce's making history, Kendrick Lamar had a huge night too. Song of the Year for Not Like Us, which is, that diss track aimed at Drake.
Oh, yeah. And that one comes with some legal drama too. Drake's actually suing his record label for releasing that song, saying it violates his contract, they're profiting off it, and it hurts his reputation.
Wow. So it's like rapper versus rapper, but also artist versus the whole industry.
Exactly. Like, who really has the power in these situations? It's a good question.
For sure. Okay, so while that's going on, Shakira makes a huge comeback, wins 2 awards, Best Latin Pop Album, and she performs for the first time since, I think, 2007.
Yeah, she dedicated her award to immigrants and working moms, called them she-wolves. Pretty cool.
Love it. And it was her birthday too, right?
Triple celebration.
Amazing. Okay, so Kanye West also decided to show up. First time at the Grammys in like a decade. And of course, he brings the drama.
Oh, for sure. His wife, Bianca Censori, that sheer dress, everyone was talking about it. Kanye and his crew always know how to make an entrance.
They do. Now, on a more serious note, there was that tribute to Quincy Jones, who sadly passed away late last year.
Such a legend. They had this amazing lineup of performers: Cynthia Erivo, Lainey Wilson, Stevie Wonder, even Janelle Monáe showed how much his music influenced like generations of artists.
Wow. And get this, Will Smith introduced the tribute. First time he's been on an awards show stage since, that Oscars incident.
Yeah, a big step for him. But the focus stayed on Quincy, which was good.
Definitely. Okay, let's talk about some rising stars. Chappell Roan, she wins Best New Artist, and she gives this really powerful speech.
Yeah, she calls out the record labels, says they need to treat their artists better. Not just a thank you, but like a call to action. And from such a young artist, that's huge.
It is. Shows that this new generation isn't afraid to speak up. Okay, we got to talk fashion. What were some of the best looks?
Oh, man, so many. Taylor Swift in that red mini dress, Gracie Abrams looking like a bride with that veil, and Jaden Smith with that castle on his head. He always pushes the boundaries.
I love it. But there was another fashion statement too, right? Lots of artists wearing those blue heart pins.
Oh, right. Those were for the LA wildfire relief efforts. It showed that the Grammys aren't just about the awards, but also using their platform for good.
So we had celebrations, controversies, powerful messages. Seems like this year's Grammys were a real mix of everything.
And while all that fashion was going on, there were also some pretty amazing performances happening.
Oh, yeah, Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
She basically turned the whole place into like a giant rave.
Totally. It was so different from, the typical Grammys performance, all raw and kind of chaotic, It was awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of unexpected to be getting, The Weeknd performing. Wasn't he boycotting the Grammys a few years back?
Yeah, back in 2021, he had like a whole thing about the Recording Academy, the whole nominations process, seeing him back on stage singing Cry For You, that was pretty huge.
Makes you think what happened behind the scenes to bring him back.
For sure. It's like, even with all the drama, there's always a chance to, work things out.
True. And then Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars singing California Dreamin'.
So perfect, right? Especially with the wildfires, it felt like this tribute to California, like it's going to be okay, hopeful.
Definitely. And speaking of tributes, the In Memoriam segment that was really moving this year.
It was Chris Martin singing All My Love. It was just so heartfelt, remembering those artists we lost. And it was especially sad seeing Liam Payne honored. He was so young.
Yeah, way too soon. But even with the sadness, there were these moments of, like, real power.
Oh, absolutely. Doechie's speech when she won Best Rap Album, she's only the third woman to ever win that award.
Right after Lauryn Hill and Cardi B.
Exactly. And her speech, it wasn't just about winning. She talked about like her journey, getting sober, her faith, and how important it is to have more women in hip hop.
Yeah.
Really inspiring.
And Sabrina Carpenter winning Best Pop Vocal Album for Short and Sweet. She beat some big names. Even her friend Taylor Swift.
I know, and Taylor looks so happy for her, even though she didn't win anything. It's cool to see that kind of support.
Totally. But honestly, what I really noticed was just this feeling of community throughout the whole night.
Yeah, for sure. From those blue heart pins to all the tributes, it felt like everyone was acknowledging the wildfires, how they impacted everyone.
And it wasn't just talk either. Remember that ad with Doja Cat telling everyone to support that flower shop in Altadena, the one that burned down?
Oh, yeah, Orla Floral Studio. That was great. They used their platform to actually help, you know? It shows the Grammys can do more than just hand out awards.
Right. Even Trevor Noah, in his monologue, she talked about the wildfires, how strong LA is.
Instead of just, cracking jokes, he got real. It set the tone for the whole night, like, hey, the Grammys are part of what's happening in the world.
Yeah. It felt like they found a good balance between celebrating the music and, acknowledging what's going on around us. So now let's get into some of the stuff that didn't make the headlines. All those behind-the-scenes moments, the whispers, the things they don't want you to know. All right, so we talked about all the big stuff, but what about, those little moments that tell us what's really going on?
Yeah, those little things can be super revealing. Like, remember when Shabuzi, she was up for Best New Artist, mentioned Blue Ivy Carter, said Blue Ivy was giving her feedback during rehearsals for Beyoncé's Christmas performance.
No way.
Really? Yeah, Blue Ivy's only 13, but she's already, advising Beyoncé. It's wild to see the next generation coming up.
That's amazing. Makes you wonder what she'll be doing in a few years.
Yeah.
And speaking of surprises, there were some wins that nobody saw coming.
Totally. Like former President Jimmy Carter winning a Grammy posthumously for his audiobook, Last Sundays in Plains. Super unexpected, but also really touching.
It's incredible, right? His words still have so much power.
Yeah. It shows you the power of stories and what a legacy he left behind. And then there was St. Vincent just casually mentioning in her speech that she has a wife and daughter.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a mic drop moment.
Right, just slipped it in there. It was great, though, showing everyone that families come in all forms,
For sure. And it reminds you that representation matters.
Yeah.
Everywhere, not just on stage. Speaking of which, those blue heart pins, they were more than just fashion, right?
Definitely. They were a way to show support for everyone affected by those fires. This tragedy touched everyone, no matter who you are.
It really did. It was powerful to see everyone come together like that.
So as we wrap up our Grammys deep dive, what's sticking with you?
I think it's that feeling of, resilience. Even with all the challenges, all the controversies, the music community came together. They celebrated creativity, honored the legends, and they used their voices to speak up for what's right.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And those conversations about artists' rights, about representation, about justice, they're not going away. They're just getting started.
So true. And it's up to all of us to keep listening, keep learning, and keep pushing for change.
Absolutely.
Well, that's our deep dive into the 2025 Grammys. Thanks for joining us. Keep the music playing, everyone.